As we have entered into the current era of modern solutions, urban solutions to problems, it feels like band-aid more than a solution. For example, someone is feeling very low energy. They feel like they don't have enough focus, but they also need to go to work where they need to apply a lot of focus and have a lot of high energy because they have to do like 8 hours of meetings or code for 7 hours or something like that, something very demanding. The response to that is a can of Red Bull, multiple cups of espresso. The response to that is not, why is my energy level low? Is it because my circadian rhythm is messed up? Is it because I'm eating too late in the night? Is it because of some thyroid issue? Nobody is wondering about what's going on in their body. Even though I was never addicted to alcohol in a neurological way. I would never feel like I need to drink alcohol, otherwise my hand is shaking or something like that. Even though that never happened. I was actually drinking way more alcohol than any alcohol addict.
Welcome to today's conversation. We have Ritesh with us. And Ritesh is also from Healing Warrior Tribe. If you have seen my previous conversation with Gayatri, here's Ritesh to talk about his journey in urban cities, his realization, the way he conducts himself, the environment that he faced in the urban city, and something about that triggered him into going into a path of addiction. And that have brought him into the Healing Warrior Tribe. We are going to listen to Ritesh's journey, and Ritesh, welcome to the conversation. Please introduce yourself.
Namaste. Hello, I am Ritesh. Just like Prema, I am also a humble member of the Healing Warrior Tribe, and I've been in the tribe for a year now. And a lot of things, most of the valuable lessons that I have learned from the tribe, they have been an outcome of me trying to practice the lessons regularly with discipline, with humility. They are not the lessons that I was looking for, but they are the lessons that I needed the most. I joined the tribe with a completely different objective. When Rajanji asked me, why do you want to join this practice? I told him that I have spent 30 years sharpening my mind. Now I want to sharpen my body. So he's like, yeah, this sounds like a decent purpose. You can join the tribe. So I joined the tribe because I felt like my body was falling apart and my health was not optimal at all. And I saw Rajanji's practices as a way to rebuild my body, fix my health. That's not even in the top 10 of the most valuable things that I have gained from this practice. So that's about me, someone who has accidentally stumbled upon a treasure he wasn't looking for.
When we talk about urban addiction, what do you mean by that?
As we have entered into the current era of modern solutions, urban solutions to problems, it feels like band-aid more than a solution. For example, let's say someone is feeling low energy. They feel like they don't have enough focus, but they also need to go to work where they need to apply a lot of focus and have a lot of high energy because they have to do like 8 hours of meetings or code for 7 hours or something very demanding. The response to that is a can of Red Bull. The response to that is multiple cups of espresso. The response to that is not, why is my energy level low? Is it because my circadian rhythm is messed up? Is it because I'm eating too late in the night? Is it because of some thyroid issue? Nobody is wondering about what's going on in their body. As long as we have something, some app that can deliver the chemical solution for it in 10 minutes at our doorstep. As long as Red Bull can arrive at my doorstep within 10 minutes, I am all good. I don't need to figure out if my circadian rhythm is messed up. So that is what I feel is urban addiction. It's the approach to fixing your problems by very convenient band-aids and developing an unhealthy relationship with it as if that is what you need to function normally. Looking at coping mechanisms like energy drinks, coffee, stimulants, or even something like binge watching. It's so common that if people are talking about, hey, what are you up to? They immediately start talking about the show that they are binge watching. And there was a time when people used to ask about hobbies. Hey, what are your hobbies? Now I think that the list of hobbies has completely shrunk. It's just down to whether it's Netflix or whether it is Disney Plus. There is even space for the old fashioned hobbies anymore. Who's collecting stamps these days? And the reason for that, because if you're waking up completely like a zombie with zero energy and somehow you're just struggling through the day to be as productive as you're contractually obligated to your company, then at the end of it, you're in such a sorry state that you will not want to think that, hey, should I collect stamps? Hey, should I read a book? Should I do some carpentry? Should I do some pottery? Should I sit outside with a telescope and look at the stars? Stargazing used to be a hobby. Now okay, my brain is completely fried. Let me collapse on my recliner and just watch something that is streaming online. Because that's all that you can do with the energy that you have left. Doing it day after day, week after week, developing that into your way of life, that I feel is an addiction, a bona fide addiction.
That's a fantastic way to put it. Nobody would have thought about it. At least when I was growing up, collecting stamps, collecting coins, going out and playing, climbing trees, singing, reading, pottery, carpentry was actually pottery and carpentry was still a job. It was a
Yeah,
paid job. You know, the skills when the hand is moving, it connects to your mind. That energy is completely different from the energy that you get from going to office, sitting in a cubicle, being fried in front of a computer, and coming
yeah,
back home. You beautifully put it. That is the energy level you actually have, is just to binge watch by sitting in a recliner.
yeah.
Who would have thought about it? Because nobody has the time to ask why. What is actually happening? So,
Right.
Ritesh, when you talk about addiction in this way,
Hmm.
what was your addiction?
So I feel like for me, I always had this ego of a high performer. So there is a funny story behind it. When I started out in kindergarten, I was a terrible student. It was just an oral exam. They would ask us questions, and I just
Wait,
refused to answer
you
it.
had an exam? You had an
Yeah.
exam in kindergarten? Oh my god, what's happening to the world?
So in the finals, they ask you 5 questions. Questions like, what is your name and what is your age? They'll ask you what is a name a word that starts with A, or they'll ask you what is today's date, something like that. Very simple, very elementary questions. But I would just refuse to answer those questions because the entire time I would be crying that my father has abandoned me and left me in this place with strangers. I think that everyone was uh, resigned to me being a special needs student, and they just told my parents that this school is not the right place for this person. Maybe you should reconsider a different type of school for children like these who are special needs. Wanting to be with your parents a bit more often, that can be classified as a special need. I don't mind that. They thought that I was mentally challenged to be in that school. Basically, my parents, they felt like maybe there is a chance that the child is mentally challenged. But let's do one thing. Let's give it another shot. Let's put him in another school in the same class. Let's see what happens. By that time, my grandfather used to also stay with me and he was also teaching me. When I joined the new school, right, whatever they were teaching me in class, my grandfather had already taught me once at home. I aced the exams of that school's kindergarten, and the teachers were like, this kid is very brilliant. I felt very good about it. That some people are praising me and they're saying that I am a brilliant person. I like this feeling. I need this feeling. I'll continue to chase this feeling. That basically became my life after that. I kept chasing academic excellence just because I liked the feeling of being praised. That was my only motivation. I liked being praised by my teachers. I also observed that on the off chance that I'm not studying and there is some like half yearly exam in the school that I have not scored well in, my parents are starting to treat me like a third class citizen in my own home. In my own home, I'm starting to lose all the privileges that I used to enjoy. I need to earn it back. So I always had this ego of a very high academically accomplished individual. The problem with that is that in school your syllabus is limited and all you can do is read everything that is in the syllabus, not more than that. There are some students I know who would read standard 9 books in standard 8, but I was not that type of a person. As long as I was really good in the academic demands of standard 8 when I am in standard 8, I'm good because all I need is the praise, not any academic accomplishment. That actually changes when you're in a job. There is no syllabus in a job. At that time, y- it's up to you how much you want to take upon yourself. Again, there is competitiveness at your work because you can see the pace at which other people are working, how productive other people are, what other people are accomplishing. And naturally, there is a sense of ambition. Naturally, there is a sense of desire to be among the best performers, to be among the most productive people in the office. That natural ambition, that natural desire to be among the best in the office can make you want to say yes to responsibilities, projects, and work that you don't have the fitness to take on. I have this word fitness because I feel like that's what it is. Right now, in an 8-hour workday, whatever I'm able to accomplish, if I was asked to accomplish that much 5 years ago, I would not have been able to do that. Why? Because I was relatively unfit. Just like you go to a gym, first you lift the 2.5 kilo dumbbell, then you develop the fitness to lift the 5 kilo dumbbell. Then, after you practice with that for 2 to 3 weeks, then your body is capable to go to 7.5 kilo dumbbell. It's exactly like that. When you're at work, as you develop fitness, your ability to do more increases. But sometimes when someone has an inflated ego, they will want to take on more work than they have the fitness for. And even though some of your well wishers will say, okay, maybe you don't have the fitness for it, that can come to you as an insult. What do you mean I am not fit for it? I will do it. So we tend to even villainize our well wishers when it comes to that. If your family members are saying that, hey, maybe you need to slow down, what do you mean slow down? You think that I'm unfit? Yeah, maybe you are, but you're not ready to accept that. I made one of those mistakes out of sheer ego to be amongst the best, at least show to myself that yes, I am amongst the top performers. I said yes to a lot of work that I was not fit for. And the result is that, again, out of ego, I cannot admit that, hey, I'm sorry I took on more work than I'm capable of doing. Can you help me? If asking for help is also okay, I think a lot of people have forgotten. I had certainly forgotten. But I also didn't ask for help to anyone. And so here I was doing a lot of work that I was not fit to do in an 8-hour workday. So I was doing all of it in a 12-hour workday. I would spend 8 hours in the office. Then at home also the same thing would be running in my mind. And if I'm getting some free time, I would open up my laptop and try to do something. Why? Because I have given myself a deadline and I want to hit the deadline that I've given myself. An outcome of that was that my life became super unhealthy. I was sleep deprived. I was sleeping late but waking up early. Why? Because I knew that I can take espresso shots. So I had developed this pride that I'm one of those guys who can only sleep for 4 hours a day and be perfectly productive. I had developed ego for that as well. Then I found other ways, like if I'm coming back home and my mind is completely fried, then I have like 2 to 3 hours before I go to sleep. So I would find specifically those TV shows which will make me laugh the most and the most frequently in a 1 hour span. So even amongst comedies, I would like rank comedies in the order of laughs per minute, and I would watch only those. So I was making even comedy shows compete amongst themselves. So in that manner was just living my life of just incessantly working, being sleep deprived, energy drinks, espresso shots, and partying. If there is an opportunity to party, I would not leave that opportunity. Why? Because you know how camel spots some water in the desert. It not just quenches its own thirst, it drinks like 4 liter, 5 liter extra and stores it in its humps. Why? Because you don't know when next you'll have it. So in such a demoralizing schedule, if I'm getting an opportunity to party, if I'm getting an opportunity to be happy, I would max out on it so much. Why? Because I do not know when is the next time I can be in this way. Because of myself. It's not that somebody else is asking me to work so hard. I am only asking myself to work so hard because I'm so harsh on myself. Why? Ego. The fear of seeing someone else being better than me. There has to be some humility that, hey, you are new to this. It's okay if you're taking some time to learn. No, must be good. I must be amongst those people who are super fast learners. All of these things, they actually consume you faster than you realize. As a result of that, I developed an unhealthy relationship with food. Why? Because I discovered that when I'm eating food, it is giving me happiness. I started consuming enormous amounts of food and I became fat. Then I mentioned energy drinks also, espresso. So everything that I'm mentioning, I should just let you know that I was consuming all of these in copious amounts. None of this was being consumed uh, in a healthy way or in reasonable amount. There was a time when my fridge used to have 16 Red Bull cans and I would go through them in a single week. And then after I went through them in a single week, then I realized that, okay, I'm drinking 16 Red Bull cans in a week. That's a bit high. Same with Coke. Coke also has caffeine, so it makes you a bit alert. So there was a time when my table used to have a stack of Coke cans. I was proud of it. I would stack Coke cans that I have consumed that day, and that pyramid would be like 3 layers, 4 layers high some days. I mentioned how hard I was partying during this time because that's the only time when I get to like enjoy myself. So that's how I discovered the joys of alcoholism. If I've come to the party after a stressful day and I'm having alcohol, within 15 minutes all my stress is gone. So it's like a miracle drug. That's how I started looking at it. That it does not matter. It does not matter how stressful my work is. I can make my work as stressful as I want. I can take on as much work as I want as long as there is alcohol in my life. All I have to do is come back home and drink alcohol and my stress levels will go away. And so I was never addicted to alcohol in a neurological way, as in I would never feel like I need to drink alcohol, otherwise my hand is shaking or something like that. Even though that never happened, I was actually drinking way more alcohol than any alcohol addict. And the reason for that was that I had basically mapped alcohol to a solution to my stress as a stress reliever. Most people would limit the amount of stress that they are taking in their life because taking more stress will become unmanageable for them. For me, it felt like no amount of stress is unmanageable because I can take any amount of stress because at the end of the day, I can just come back and drink alcohol, right? So, no amount of stress then is unmanageable per se. So, I started drinking alcohol quite routinely. During COVID, there was a ban on even going out of your home. So obviously, I could not drink alcohol during that time. After a month or so, they reopened all the alcohol shops. Okay. So I felt like I should stock up my fridge and I will drink it at my own pace. Every day I would think, hey, was a stressful day. Let me open up a can of beer. And I went through all the 16 cans of beer in 10 days, slightly more than a week. And that's when I realized that, okay, the pace at which I'm drinking alcohol is a bit high. And I'll tell you another side of it. There used to be a time when if somebody is drinking a lot of alcohol, that person would be a social outcast. The villagers would treat him like a person, an uncivilized person, unworthy of being befriended, worthy of interacting with, unworthy of having social connections with. In urban setup, it's completely different. Over here, consuming alcohol is normalized and consuming enormous amounts of alcohol is celebrated. There was a party where I was, and by that time, I had not realized how naturalized I had made alcohol to my system. And therefore, we ordered some 300 ml of beer. Everyone on the table got that. And I started drinking. Again, I had made that day stressful for myself. So I started drinking to relieve my stress. And I gulped through all of it in one shot. So I basically chugged the entire 300 ml in one go. And I put down the glass as if I was thirsty for it since some centuries. And then when I looked around the table, everyone has consumed like one sip or two sips, and my entire glass is empty. I started wondering, did I do something wrong? This is certainly outlier behavior. And everyone on that table, they looked at me like, wow, this is incredible. Let's get another round for you. They started celebrating the fact that I can drink beer so fast. I started being introduced by people. Meet Ritesh. He's the guy that I have seen down a 300 ml glass of beer the fastest. That became like a praiseworthy introduction for me. You know how when friends introduce you, they try to introduce you in such a way that you make a solid first impression. I was making solid first impression with this, and everyone like, wow, yeah, this is incredible. I'm only receiving positive reinforcements to this activity, so I'm indulging in more of it. No one except my wife is telling me that please stop. My wife is also in an urban setup. She's also in a city with me. She's not living in a village. She's with me. We're both in the urban setup. So when she sees me drinking a huge amount of alcohol, in her mind, the impression is not that this person is a rowdy person, is an uncivilized person, or that this person should not be socialized with or should not be befriended. In her mind, it is ke, if this person is drinking so much alcohol to relieve his stress, maybe he should not have so much stress to begin with. Maybe he should live a more balanced life. So that is the type of feedback that I was getting. Because again, I was very young. I was too young for my wife to have the concerns of me developing a fatty liver. Her concerns were about more subtle aspects of my life, like why is it that I am so hard on myself, that this is how I'm coping with it. I think that not everyone notices those patterns. When you're in a party and everyone sees you drinking so much, nobody wonders, dude, why do you need to drink so much? What are you going through really? Everyone's response is, okay, you're the man. So, and that's a positive feedback loop that can actually encourage a person to go so much deeper into this behavior. Even though it was never a chemical addiction for me, it was a behavioral addiction for sure, because I would indulge in more of it. Because now I was not only getting relief from stress, I was getting praises from my friends. Bro, you're so good at it. Wow, incredible. You can down ml in one shot. I then developed the ability to down 500 ml. Like, wow, you can down 500 ml. That is incredible. Let's try 1.5 liters.
People actually encourage and see this as a normal way of life. And because the way it's been sold to us is you're just chilling, you're just partying, it's relaxing, and you
Yeah,
can keep doing it because it's so cool. It's so cool to have a beer. It's normal.
yeah.
And the advertisement part comes back into our life. What is the
Hmm.
narrative? Nobody truly asks what is the actual
Right.
narrative here.
Yeah.
Is it my stress or is it the way I live? Like you say, your realization is all about understanding the actual narrative of life versus what's been sold to you. It is not
Hmm.
you against the urban lifestyle. You're not against city. You're not against the stress. It's you against your own ego, you against your own behavior, the need of praise and anything that can help you
Yeah.
to cope to reach that. It's within us. And
Hmm.
that is truly mind blowing because everyone will be looking for something external to blame on because it's very easy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
easy to see what is happening outside of our body. Like you
Right.
say, when we ask why this is happening, because you've been
Hmm.
asking yourself why this is happening to me. Every
Yeah.
single why give you an answer to look deeper within you. So, what would you say that back then your society, your community, your friends didn't see what you were going through?
I think that if they saw me consuming an enormous amount of alcohol, all they could see is that this guy is really skilled at it. I think chugging a full jug of beer was glamorized by movies, TV shows. I don't remember growing up with the idea that drinking alcohol super fast is a skill. I really don't. I don't think I grew up with that idea. But after I watched a bunch of movies where like some guy is consuming beer and a whole table is just chanting chug, 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 chug. After watching a few movies like that, then I developed the idea that drinking a lot of alcohol at a very fast pace is a skill. So they saw that this guy is like super skilled. Just like an archer practices archery, this person is practicing his talent. That's what they saw. Not just other people, but even the person who is chugging. I would want them to realize that if this is a legitimate skill that you're practicing, okay, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. There are other factors to why alcohol is harmful, but I'm sure that you would be aware of it, and it's your life. But if you are doing it because this is the only thing that is giving you happiness, or if you're doing it because it is the highlight of your week, then maybe just take 15 minutes to sit quietly and think, okay, why is it that the most positive interaction that I have with my society is when I'm chugging beer? Why am I not creating other positive moments with my own connection with my community? What is the type of life that I have built, that the adulation that I am getting from consuming a lot of beer, that is one of the top three adulations that I have received that week. If there are other things which could be giving me a sense of purpose. Would I really rely on chasing the adulation of being able to drink a lot of alcohol? Not necessarily. For a lot of people who are smoking, drinking, doing any type of addictive practice, more often than not, the moments when they are in the middle of consuming it, that's the only time when they are peaceful. That's the only time when they are calm. That's the only time when they're feeling a sense of tranquility, which is why they keep coming back to it. That's the Pavlovian training. In your life, there is only mess. When you come back to this substance, that is when you have peace. Thus, you have successfully done a Pavlovian training of a person associating peace, tranquility, serenity with substance. I would encourage that person to think, is there a way in which you can build peace and tranquility in your life in a different way, which will not necessarily involve you consuming a substance? I have a very funny story of my grandfather. He used to smoke and he tried to quit smoking. Do you know what he did? He started consuming pan. Like, I need something to stimulate me. And after a point, he's like, "Okay, pan is also not cutting it. I need to go back to smoking." So he was smoking. So then he was both consuming pan and smoking.
What happened for you to actually realize this is not what it is? It's not sustainable.
One point, my wife noticed my condition, and so she had been flagging it that, hey, this is unhealthy behavior. An onlooker, they can see and identify unhealthy behavior. My wife had been telling me for a year that the way you are relating to these things, it's very unhealthy. The thing is that I also had the ego of someone who can fix himself, because I was also fat in college and then I lost all of my weight in college. So I had the, okay, yeah, it's okay if I'm gaining weight. It's I'm just gaining it during this difficult phase of my life when I'm working very, very hard. There will come a time when I won't have to work so hard because this would have become easy for me and I'll lose my weight then. The thing is that my wife started noticing that I am living in a very unhealthy manner in 2019. It took me 2 years to stop. In 2021, I finally decided that I'll give some priority to my health and I'll just not be going at this reckless speed. From 2021, then steadily I would try to develop healthier habits, eat better, and have a relatively better relationship with my health, with my well being. But I think that once you're at the deep end of something, coming out of it is a slow process if you're doing it on your own. I also simultaneously had the arrogance that, yeah, I can figure all of it out on my own, which is why, even though from 2021 I was trying to fix my health, it was a very, very slow process. I have a friend who who does not have this ego of fixing your life on your own. If he finds a yoga teacher who is very effective, he'll go to that yoga teacher and learn yoga from them. If he thinks that he should become fit, he will go to a gym and he will actually learn from a gym trainer instead of lifting weights on his own. I developed that trait from him, that we should learn to surrender our ego to a teacher and learn from them. There were many spiritual teachers that I surrendered my ego to learn from them. Each took me from one point to the other, and as I kept progressing, eventually I found Rajanji. And that's how I discovered Healing Warrior Tribe. And I learned that Rajanji was offering this course. I immediately jumped into it because I felt a natural calling for it. I was anyways hungry to fix my health. And I saw someone who was able to fix his health almost in a miraculous way. When I met him, his hip was broken. The day I met him was, I think, 9 days or roughly 1.5 weeks after he broke his hip. he was uh, he was walking around more comfortably than me. So that is the level of fitness that he had. I had no broken bones. If I would get up from a sitting position, I would have a numb hip and I would be limping for like 30 seconds before I get my full circulation back. But he was walking around as if nothing is wrong with him. Saw that this is something that I want to learn. That's how I got into the Healing Warrior Tribe practice.
Very inspiring. How did the Healing Warrior Tribe became a place where you become a different person. Did you become a different person?
I would like to think so. I think that one of the lessons from the Healing Warrior tribe is to be humble. That's even though what we're learning to an onlooker, it will seem like body movements. But the number one learning from Healing Warrior tribe is humility. And when you are humble, right, then two things happen. First, you are not so harsh on yourself that you feel like you need a respite from your own terrible life that you have created through substances. You are humble enough to tell yourself that I need to balance between the needs of the society and the needs of the self, balancing between the left and the right, the Ida and the Pingala. If every practice that we do, if we're doing something on the left side 54 times, we're doing it on the right side 54 times. If we're doing something on the left side 27 times, on the right side we're doing 27 times. We learn to balance between the needs of the world and the needs of the self. That is a foundation to leading a balanced life. The other thing that we learn is that it's okay if the teacher is doing it exceptionally well. It's okay if the teacher is doing 108 push-ups. It's okay if the teacher is doing 108 squats after finishing 108 push-ups. It's okay if they're doing it. If you are not able to do it, do only till you can. Do not push yourself. Each time we do these practices, constantly reminded to leave the ego at the door. Because if you do these movements with ego, you'll stop listening to your body. And I think this is one of those phrases that we hear most frequently: listen to your body. Because then you will know that 3 push-ups later, you're going to tear a muscle. 7 squats later, you're going to fatigue yourself so much you won't be able to walk. Listen to your body and be humble enough to stop when doing the next repetition would be unhealthy for you. There are some reports. One of the reports came from me also, where the students would say, okay, I tried to do this practice. This was initially difficult for me, and I injured myself while doing it, but I kept going, and finally I did it despite my injury. And then we would receive feedback. Please don't. Please don't do it. Also, for the next 3 days, don't do anything. Rest yourself. First, fully recover, then resume. So, this bravado, it's no longer me padam, then it's no longer karlagatai, then it's ego lifting.
So, how does it work when the ego lifts you?
Yeah, I think ego lifting is a great way to win in the short term and lose in the long term. It's a great way. Whatever you want to accomplish, you will accomplish in the short term. And you will also ensure that in the long term, your body is so messed up, you will not be able to do it ever.
Would you say finding Sarira Sadhana, Healing Warrior type, is actually is just a replacement for the need of stimulation in your life?
Great question. Great question. There are days when I end up seeing it like that. I would have a stressful day and then not so brutally stressful as before, because now I'm relatively more humble to take on the amount of work that is healthy for me, to take on the responsibility, not just work, any social responsibility. If you're promising your father that, hey, yeah, I will do this, or if you're promising your wife, your children, or your neighbor, hey, yeah, I will do this, I'll take care of it. It's a promise, it's a responsibility. If you end up saying yes to everyone, then maybe you're not fit to do all of it, and either you stretch yourself too much to do all of it, or you're constantly beating up yourself in the mind that I said yes to so many people, but I actually did only 40% of what I was supposed to do. 60% of the people are thinking that I am a cheat, I am a liar, or that I am an unreliable person, my reputation is now ruined. So, the art of being humble teaches you to say no to your ego when it is really looking for the validation of saying yes to people. Because when you say yes to someone, right? When someone says, hey, can you do it? When someone is asking for help, in that moment, you are Superman. Like, of course I will. Of course I will do it. Who else will do it? I'm the savior in your life. There is a Superman ego which will immediately come up and will say, yes, really want to say yes. At that time, it's your humility that will encourage you to do the hard thing, which is to say that person that, hey, I'm very sorry. I cannot do what you're asking me to do. And in that moment, you will see that person's face drop. You will see that person's face showing you emotions of disappointment. Feeling sad that you disappointed them is fine, but it's very important to not let your ego get in the way and inspire you to be like, please don't be sad. Wait. I have changed my mind. I will do it. Huh? What? No. Life is such that you can't do everything. Just try to the best of your ability. It's better if they're disappointed now than disappointed much later when they think that you're actually going to do it and then you end up not doing it. It is actually worse. Anyways, that thing is not happening. Anyways, you're not doing it. Why not give them the disappointment now instead of making them hopeful for a longer time? Being hopeful for longer will make the disappointment hit even harder. You're a bad person.
That's true. That's true. That is something that nobody thinks about. That it's actually an ego saying yes, not your own true capability. In this process of healing, do you feel like you have gone back to your addiction again?
This is actually a very good question. If there is any practice that involves you doing difficult things, you have some resistance to it. So there are times when I have had resistance to starting the practice. It shows up in the form of laziness. It shows up in the form of procrastination or excuses. My morning is too busy. My afternoon is too busy. I will do it in the evening. When I finally get around to doing it, at the end of it, when I'm waking up from the Shivasana, it feels great. I feel like, wow, this 1 hour was the best 1 hour of my day. So at least I should try to remember that. Instead of thinking that this is an hour of difficulty, I should remember this as an hour that is the highlight of my day and retrain my mind to look forward to it instead of carrying on the programming that I have for the past 30 years, which is that sitting on the couch is easy and feels good, but doing some physical practice is hard and painful. No, this is actually much more enjoyable. So I've tried to reprogram my mind, and a lot of times I have also tried to remap how I perceive this practice and remember it as the highlight of my day. There is a chance that someone might develop this attitude. I can take as much stress in my life as I want. Healing Warrior Tribe, 1 hour of Healing Warrior Tribe practice, I can take up in the evening and I'll be fine. Or that I can wake up and do that practice and it's okay. That will stimulate my day. The problem with that is that you can clearly see your body responding to your unhealthy behavior during the practice. The practice reveals your own unhealthy thoughts and your own unhealthy behaviors. Because naturally, a person who is using Healing Warrior Tribe as stimulant or the 1 hour that he can squeeze maximum recreation and stress relief out of and then have a stressful day, such a person will not have a good energy level. Such a person can see that yesterday I was able to do the same movement easily, but today why is it so hard? If you are using Healing Warrior Tribe as a coping mechanism, that means that you have not integrated the lessons of Healing Warrior Tribe in other parts of your life, and other parts of your life are not balanced. Then you will either lose energy to stress or you will lose energy to lower than optimal energy levels and health in your body. So I'll explain it in this way, which I think will be simpler. If I was the same person that I was in 2019, and instead of drinking alcohol for 1 hour in the evening, I am doing Healing Warrior Tribe practice for 1 hour in the evening. That means that when I'm doing that practice, my circadian rhythm is messed up, and therefore my energy levels would be low. I will fail to switch from the ego heavy attitude that I have carried throughout the day to the humble attitude that it asks me to have when I'm doing the practice. I will do some type of ego lifting and I will injure my knees or elbows or I will pull some back muscle. If I am doing it for 3 days and on the fourth day I am realizing that it is too hard because I have gained so many injuries or that I'm not making fast enough progress. Other people are progressing fast. I am not progressing fast. Then I will start becoming irregular in the tribe and I'll say, okay, I'm sorry, this is not for me. I'm going back to my beer. Bye bye. It takes humility to stick to the practice even when the progress is slow.
How does the tribe help you to be this person who's full of humility.
I had read somewhere that you are the average of the 5 people that you interact most with. So, if the 5 people that you're interacting with are disciplined people, you will naturally become a disciplined person. If the 5 people that you're interacting most with are indisciplined people, you will become indisciplined. Every day after the practice, we report in the group that today I did my practice. If there are some insights that you have gained, we report that as well. If there are any revelations that we had, we also share that in the group. The interesting thing is only the regular students share in the group. The regular students are not doing the practice. And you can start a new practice and do it with full enthu for 3 days out of ego, but only through humility can you continue to do it for months. Way in which the same problem is articulated by a humble person and how it is articulated by a person with an inflated ego will be very different. To see solutions not being branded as my revelation, but as a blessing that I receive or an insight that I received, to know that the problems that we are facing, they are lessons by our cosmic teachers, and the solutions that we are finding, they are also coming from the stream of the creativity of our cosmic parents. So to to find people who have that type of relationship with their problems and solutions is rare in day-to-day world, abundant in the tribe. That's how the tribe has contributed to me learning how to be humble, because I see with what humility they face their challenges and with what humility they express the solutions that they came up with. Every solution is a blessing. No solution is like some bravado seeking endeavor ke.
That's so true. That's definitely something that I have learned just in a few months of being within the tribe. It's rooted in humility, it's rooted in blessing, that it doesn't come from me. I'm not who is doing this. I'm
Yeah,
doing this because of the grace. Without grace, I can't even do this. If I
yeah,
can't do it, all I need to do is look upon the grace, and there will be some sort of support for me to open up to the ability that I can. And that
yeah.
has been a great container to be in. It is
Hmm.
a beautiful journey, Ritesh. That's a wonderful conversation, and I had so many revelations about humans' addiction, humans' behavior, and the environment of the urban, the city life that we are in, and
Hmm.
how it's contributing very subtly in our life. That is a beautiful journey that you have shared with us. If you have more to share with us about your journey and your journey with Healing Warrior Tribe, please do so.
If I think about what Healing Warrior Tribe gives to a student, the one thing that I would say is that it gives the student the perspective that neither are the problems their own nor are the solutions. And once you know that all you can do is just try your best. That's all you can do. And not be entitled to the predictable outcomes of your actions. A lot of people have this entitlement to predictable outcomes of their action. For example, if I have exercised for a month, I should have lost 5 kilos. Or if I have done this meditation for a month, then I should be seeing these cosmic entities when I'm closing my eyes. The thing is that either something so metaphysical as that, seeing supernatural entities in your meditation, or something as basic as losing 5 kilos when you exercise for a month. These are all expectations that we attach to the work that we are doing. That expectation comes from entitlement, that if I'm doing something, I should get result from it.
We shouldn't have any expectation. Our first point in Healing Warrior Tribe, expectation leads to disappointment.
Yeah.
Everyone who is listening to us up to here, if you're ready to embrace some humility and balance your external and internal self, come and join us in Healing Warrior Tribe. You'll meet me and Ritesh there. And we will try to share what we do every day with you.
Yeah,
Ritesh,
yeah, yeah.
thank you so much for this amazing conversation. I'll meet you again soon. Thank
Yes,
you.
it was my pleasure. And before we go, I want to assure to all of our watchers that I'm not encouraging you to give up your expectations because you will not get results. It's that you will get the results that you did not expect. Once you stop
Good.
expecting, the unexpected can happen to you.
That's fantastic. That's an amazing conclusion. Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you for your time.